3.5 years ago when I joined the DoorDash, is all those problems solved by manual. There's a lot of money we throw there, super slow. I ask them, when can we have a good catalog or product knowledge graph as good as Amazon? The answer is probably after 10 or 20 years. I'm like, no, this is not acceptable. Yeah. So I say like, we have to use AI to solve the problems. I truly believe in the future, if you do not know how to leverage AI, you're not gonna keep up. You're gonna lose job.
I think the best way is realizing that, with AI, your answers are not going to come top down, right? And so if you keep waiting for someone to tell you what to do, it will keep changing, right? Because every time you have an org change, that will change. And the reality is they don't know. You can come up with a need and do it yourself. Don't wait. Don't wait for your executive or your manager or anyone to tell you what to build. Just go build it. Hello, everyone. I'm Elsie. I lead the applied research and engineering team for GitHub Copilot. So my team is a mix of Microsoft as well as GitHub employees. And just a little bit about me. My background is actually in software engineering, and I did not get a PhD. But I've been working in AI for many, many years. And I worked on the early days of Alexa. So I've seen many of these AI trends kind of come and go, but I'm really excited with this new AI era. And of course, when you look at the AI trends, the one that I have to be excited about is AI in coding. I think especially having started as a software engineer and going now into AI, just really interesting for me to see how AI is changing my profession, the profession and the degree that I studied in software engineering, so very excited. I've been in big organizations. I have learned like everything that you heard on the allyship and sponsorship panel about getting a sponsor, advocating for yourself, all these skills that you need to build to speak about your work. I've learned all those skills. But I'll say I'm happy to unlearn them, right? I would be the first one who, I don't enjoy doing any of that. I have never enjoyed doing that. It has always felt unnatural to me. And I would love a dream where the work does just speak for itself. And I think you can do a lot of that with AI, right? I have seen a lot of people when they're applying for jobs, right? You can get AI to go and really make your resume stand out, right? Really make sure that your work stands out. You can replace the we that you have in all your emails with an I through AI, right? There's so many things. I think AI can help you. AI can answer like more questions. It can make even things like executive coaching or like a lot of things a lot more accessible than it was before. In the field of software engineering, where we've had very little representation from women especially and other underrepresented groups, it's huge. Like we see how people are using GitHub Copilot, right? And so you can ask questions about any code base. You don't have to go and find the most experienced team member, right? You can go and on your own start asking questions about the code base, ramp up on your own. We have seen like very brand new hires inside of Microsoft use GitHub Copilot to go and release performance fixes that have improved performance for, I believe it was somewhere in Microsoft Teams by like 10 to 15%. So I think there's so many ways. I think if we all think about AI as an equalizer, and whatever your profession is, I think you have very creative ways to go learn about what AI can do and find how it can help you equalize some of these things that maybe have held different types of groups back in the past.
I would say definitely be brave, right? There's a lot of new AI tech comes out and try it out. Because if you think about it, is if you are not on top of technologies, you will be left behind, right? And I was joking because we were also like talk about, hey, what type of job will still be there? Because we all have kids, right? What kind of major they should apply? and so we can predict they can have a good life, right? So like when my friend is sitting there, we were discussing about that. Then we were worried, hey, at the end, will robots take over human, right? So do we still have a job, right? So what type of job do we still have? What we're saying is, look, like this is more like a industrial revolution. Right? A lot of farmers were so like resistant on like don't have a machines because the machine will take over my job. But the people is on top of the new techs, and there's new jobs coming out like engineers. You were never thinking about it like before the industrial revolution. You will never think about there's jobs like a software engineer, jobs like engineers, mechanical engineers. Those are all new jobs, right? So only you are on top of technologies. And so you will not be left behind.
Success look like with AI transformation, AI adoption? What matrix do you track, and how do you really encourage the team to go about it? If you can share that would be great.
This is a great question, right? And I remember the recent AI hackathon I was pushing the company for, and a lot of engineers come to me saying, hey, Liang Xiao, what are you pushing for? And why are you pushing us to use AI tools? What's your successful metrics? It's the same question you had. So they ask, are you looking for a more discount and a more check-ins? I'm like, no, that's definitely not my intention, right? So for me, I literally tell them is the reason why I want to started to like take a first step to leveraging the AI, use the AI, be more concrete on like use AI to solve problems. I said, for me, I think I truly believe in the future, if you do not know how to leverage AI, you're not gonna keep up. You're gonna lose job, right? So that is, I would say for me, number one is for everyone's career goal, right? You need to think about it. You really ask yourself, if you truly have to use any ChatGPT or Gemini, and you need to give your own task saying, hey, I need to solve this using the tool today, right? But then from a business perspective, I would say is number one is how many user problems and like we are solving using the new tech. How much innovations we are having, and what are the problems we are solved like which was not possible before. So that's one. And the second is I think Runa mentioned is more like a velocity. Right? So we actually have a goal on the company is how much we can use the AI tools to improve velocity a lot. Give you an example, and we do like build a large catalog, just like Amazon has a large catalog. We actually has a humongous catalog as well because my area is working on business, retail, alcohol, etc. Right? We build a huge catalog, or we call it product knowledge graph. And several years back, I already pushed the team use AI to solve the problem. Now with advanced with LLM, and we are getting much better and better. The accuracy and the depth is getting much better. And before, I still remember like 3.5 years ago when I joined the DoorDash, is all those problems solved by manual. There's a lot of money we throw there, super slow. I ask them, when can we have a good catalog or product knowledge graph as good as Amazon? The answer is probably after 10 or 20 years. I'm like, no, this is not acceptable. Yeah. So I say like we have to use AI to solve the problems. And the good news is with LLM and like agents help, we are getting much better. And nowadays, right, we also save if not 100 or maybe several a huge amount of millions of dollars a year, and from a human manual work. So that means another metrics we are using definitely is the velocity.
So velocity is another big one. I think even in our company at Microsoft, we look at that. But I'll probably maybe talk about a different perspective. I think you heard about Cursor as well. Yeah. It's very popular. So of course, I work on GitHub Copilot. The last 1 year has been this incredible humbling and learning moment, I think, for me and for everyone who works on GitHub Copilot. If people here don't know the history. So with GitHub Copilot, we worked with OpenAI to develop this model called Codex, and it was designed only for GitHub Copilot. And it was the first coding LLM, and was custom made for GitHub Copilot. And I think it was very humbling for us what we have seen over the last year. We've seen, Cursor was one of them, but there are many other really great startups that came up and they reimagined how the whole software development experience could look like if in an AI first era. And so we learned a lot, right? I think, again, as I said, it was very, very humbling. And I think in these moments, I think this is when you learn the most, and this is how you transform an organization. So that moment really shifted everything within our teams. We went from not training any of our own models to we rehydrated all our model post-training, all our model training efforts. Over the past year, we've looked at places where we can add AI. I think originally what we did in Copilot, which is very similar to most products out there, but that's not how you design something that's AI first. That's not something how that's not a way to really improve productivity of developers. So we had to rethink how we do work, right? We had to work designers, engineers, scientists together to reimagine how you can truly integrate AI into our tools. We also trained our own models when we found that we were very open-minded. If any frontier model out there, and we were at Copilot, we are open to all models, not just the ones from OpenAI or from Microsoft. But when any of those frontier models don't solve the user problem, we train our own as well. So we had to really rethink how we worked. On the process side, we had to change how we did process as well, because one of the things we learned with AI is if you are a skeptic and the first time you look at a model, and I think in my organization, we have compilers, we have the creators of like 2-3 of the popular languages. So we are probably the hardcore programming language experts, right? And if you look at these if you look at AI, and all if you see is, well, that code is not as good as what I would write. It's got all these problems, right? And these are all the places where this goes wrong. And yes, you should be pessimistic sometimes about AI, but if you don't see the opportunity, you're not going to see a way to go and really leverage that in your product. And that's what a lot of these other startups taught us is when you don't hold back by what AI cannot do. Look at what AI is actually capable of doing today, and then work around that into your product. So that was the big part of our transformation. The third part is actually people, and this is around culture. And so we've done the normal things. I think we've looked at things like velocity. We look at do people use Copilot across GitHub or Microsoft. But the other thing that we're looking at with people is we're finding AI it's again an equalizer. More and more the lines are blurring between a scientist, a designer, a product manager, and an engineer. And so we are looking at all kinds of ways to help everyone learn about AI. Within my team, we did an AI internship. We took this summer we had some undergrads. Normally we don't hire undergrads to train models. We hired undergrads. We've taken some people, engineers from other parts of the company, learned about AI. We taught them how to train models. And more people are coming to us. And so we part of our job now has become not just to do the AI work, but we have to teach more people across our entire organization about AI, and we have to become better teachers. So that's been a big change for us as well in our group in the last 2 years. And anyone who's working in any organization in AI, I think this is just going to be what it is, right? Because there's so much change, and companies are trying to figure out how to deal with AI. And I think the best way is realizing that, with AI, your answers are not going to come top down, right? And so if you keep waiting for someone to tell you what to do, or it will keep changing, right? Because every time you have an org change, that will change. And the reality is they don't know. And so I think the best way I deal with it is I think about what I can do. And I think about what can I build. And I think AI now is so accessible. You can be a PM, you can be a designer, you can even be a scientist. AI can teach you how to train models yourself. You can do all those disciplines. And I think...
Awesome. With that, go build. Thank you, everybody.